Hello and welcome to Business Sense. I'm Ralph Rivas. For today's episode, let's talk about the future of the workplace. Now, according to latest figures of the Philippine Statistics Authority, the Philippines' unemployment rate is down to just 4.2%. This just means that there are more people employed now than before the pandemic. Let's talk about what's driving jobs. Why are there more jobs now than before the pandemic? Part of that is the availability of remote work and the hybrid work. And of course, there are new startups that have emerged given the new needs in this pandemic economy. Now, to talk about trends and more about the workplace, we have Patrick Gentry. Patrick Gentry is the CEO of Sprout Solutions. Now, Patrick, tell us more about Sprout and what you guys do and how you help HR.
Sure. Thanks, Ralph. So, Sprout is a technology company, first, based in the Philippines. We were founded in 2015, and we've developed solutions over the last 8 years to really address the full employee lifecycle management for businesses here in the Philippines. So we are focused entirely on automating HR and people processes for companies in this country.
Yeah, so in the simplest terms, you, instead of us, sending an email, for instance, to file sick leaves or holiday vacations, you have a platform for that, and maybe I don't know, appraisals or any comments?
Yeah, actually, Ralph, for many companies, it's not even an email; it's a carbon copy, the old school. I'm going to fill out my vacation leave request, take it to my manager, get their signature, and then take it to HR. Now it's just logging into a website, your company's HR platform website, and then filing for that request that your manager gets to approve right from their mobile phone and things like that. Yeah, performance appraisals, recruitment, hiring, all of these basically processes for finding resources, hiring them, training them, and making sure they're engaged with your brand, your company. Making sure they're set up for retirement. All of these things can be done through Sprout.
Yeah, and of course, the platform also gets to generate data for HR purposes, right? So, and Sprout also conducts surveys, and I was able to skim through parts of the survey. Basically, there's some good and bad.
Yeah.
So tell us more about some of the trends that you found.
That's right. So every year we do surveys through the system. We have, like, a typical survey for us will generate around 12,000 responses. So you can imagine we have this amazing kind of, bead on the market, if you will.
Yeah.
And we can really see how employees feel. And we've been doing these surveys every year, pre-pandemic, through pandemic, until today. It's very interesting. Just some of the trends that we have seen right during pandemic, most employees felt like they weren't ready for, their employers weren't ready for remote, and they didn't feel safe coming to the office. Trends like that were really, really quite high. But post-pandemic, what we've seen is that employees are really pushing for now, not work from home entirely and not work from the office, but really hybrid, for a number of reasons, which we can get into. But we're really seeing that there was that great resignation trend, kind of 2020, that really we didn't see that amount to a lot. Like what you saw, even the stat that you said, 4.2% inflation, unemployment last year. It's quite low.
Yeah.
But what really happened was more of a reshuffling. The employees really, that great resignation just really resulted in employees changing employers.
So based on all the data and the surveys that you've conducted, how do you retain talent? I mean, that's the struggle right now, because there are lots of opportunities. For instance, U.S. companies maybe just offering 100% remote work, offering, of course it's in dollars. I mean, it's really difficult for the local companies to compete with that. So how do you retain talent?
Yeah, so great question. And I can tell you, the hiring landscape has changed dramatically for exactly what you said. now you have to understand, as a Philippine company, you're not only competing against other Philippine businesses for talent, but also these overseas guys. Most especially for jobs that can be 100% remote, like, for example, technical positions like coders, for engineers, software engineers, these kinds of things. It's a global war. What we've seen is that employees prefer to work from home, but employees on 100% work from home are less engaged with their employer. So that's a very interesting stat. What it's saying is that employees want to work from home, but when they work from home, they're not as committed to their company. So we really have been preaching hybrid, and we've seen that kind of setup be most successful for businesses where they have engagement activities on site and face-to-face meetings where they really reinforce the culture of the company. And then remote is more for like highly productive work. And that's a great blend that we see working for our clients.
So is there an age factor on those that prefer 100% hybrid or 100% remote? Are millennials pushing for this? Are the Gen Zs pushing for this? Do you have insights for that?
There are some very interesting stats there. We've seen like older millennials are pushing more for work from office, and younger like Gen Zs are pushing more for fully remote. But a lot of these like Gen Z folks, their entire career, like some of these people who have been, they entered the workforce in 2020. They've never experienced, during the pandemic, they've never experienced like full office work. So they don't. For a lot of folks, we see they just don't know what it's like to have that work environment in the office. And you can see, like we've observed that trend in the system where the folks who started their careers during pandemic have a higher tendency to shift jobs. So their attrition rate is higher on average than older folks who have been, working for longer and have experienced, office work.
Now, actually, another factor that's fueling the Great Resignation. I don't know if the Great Resignation is still here in 2023, but during the pandemic, it was such a huge deal that many did not anticipate, right? So, what about inflation? Any insights on that? Are more workers pushing for higher pay right now?
Yeah, great question. Actually, we haven't yet seen a huge impact from inflation, but I think we'll really see it this year. So we're just now running our State of HR 2023 surveys. We're just starting to get those out now, and really anticipating seeing some of the results of that inflation hit this year. Again, last year we didn't see a very big impact on wages and things like that, but we'll definitely start seeing that now.
Now, what about companies? Have they embraced going digital? Are they do they have the enough or sufficient infrastructure for digitalization? And what happens if they don't go digital?
So I think it's a very interesting time because more than ever the pandemic has driven this wave of digitalization in order for companies to even be competitive in hiring. So like these days, if you want to hire a good talent, they're going to request like hybrid setup. And then you have to have the tools to be able to cater to that. And you have to understand, employees are consumers. They use, Grab. They're on like TikTok and cruising Instagram and getting groceries maybe through an app and things like this. So they're used to these wonderful digital experiences. If you don't provide something like that in their work environment, they're not going to be very. Yeah, they're going to leave. They're going to find a company that has better processes and has like an easier kind of interface in place. So yeah, it'll start being very competitive. Absolutely.
And I suppose that trend is also helping Sprout. Correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we provide all the tools that businesses need to manage this. In fact, during pandemic, we launched several new modules in our platform. So one being Sprout Wellness, where employees can access specifically like psychological evaluation, confidentially and just online via the platform, because these were big things during pandemic. Philippine regulations actually dictated that employers provide these access to this kind of mental health benefit. And employees were really feeling the need to avail, right? People are stuck at home, like really needing to talk to somebody. So yeah, we provide tools like that, engagement tools through the platform so that employers could really get the pulse of their employees and how engaged they were feeling. Because what we found, when employees went remote, engagement dropped. Productivity stayed the same, and employers reported that they did feel like their employees were effective working from home. The big change was employees weren't as engaged with their employer. And so like we really saw the need for employers to have these remote engagement tools, and so we added that to the system. So things like that are absolutely there, and businesses can use those to better serve their employees.
Now, another topic that I want to go into is new jobs that are in this pandemic economy, new companies, startups. So, any trends or any types of businesses that you think, or startups that you think will thrive in the next couple of years?
Yeah, so fantastic question, and it is a very interesting time for startups in the Philippines. I mean, obviously, I'm quite deeply embedded in this ecosystem. But what we've seen in the last 2 years is that the capital has really started to come to the country, the venture capital. So these are investors who look for startups to invest in, and really that investment drives the growth of these young companies. That kind of influx of capital has now triggered a lot of young people in the Philippines, young Filipinos, to kind of think about their ideas and launch companies around them. So like, for example, Edamama started during the pandemic because the founder just was looking for basically products for mothers, and she was at home, and she started a company to address that. And now they're a quick growing startup. Now, more relevant to where we sit in the ecosystem, what we're seeing is these employers, like employers in the Philippines, need tools in this, as you said, post-pandemic environment of hybrid work and things like that. So employers are quite hungry now for tools to help manage employees and employee life cycle. And so we're seeing this whole kind of trend of rising SaaS startups. So SaaS is software as a service, which is basically these softwares that exist online that employers can subscribe to, and then their employees can use these tools. So there's a whole wave now of software as a service startups, and Sprout is actually championing this, and we're really helping cultivate the next generation. Sprout is kind of like an OG in this area, because we've been around for quite a while. And so now we're starting to champion these young SaaS startups that we're hoping can really help us serve businesses in the Philippines.
So tell us about the companies that you're helping. So far, what type of growth are you seeing? What sectors are they in? Or what service do you have yet to see, for instance?
So we've spent a lot of time on that because, like I said, we're at a point now where businesses here are ready to adopt technology, and now we need the technology to give them. And Sprout definitely is not interested in doing all this ourselves. So we actually started an accelerator this year. We call it Impact, and basically we look for these young companies, and then we developed, in partnership with Kaya Founders, which is this fantastic startup accelerator here in the Philippines. We partnered with Kaya, and we put together this program, Impact, and have done an exhaustive search of the market and found 10 young startups that are very promising. And we're guiding them through an 8-week accelerator program, which culminates in a demo day, and then we get to select winners, and there's all kinds of benefits that these startups get from being part of this program. And these startups are quite wide-ranging. Everything from employee engagement to workforce automation and some fintech applications. So basically financial technology to help employers give better financial benefits to their employees. So it's quite a wide range, but very exciting to see these young startups really coming up and taking advantage of this accelerator program that Sprout and Kaya have put together.
Now, any startups in particular that have that are into artificial intelligence, because that's the topic that everybody's talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, here in the Rappler office, for instance, we've been discussing how it would disrupt or even threaten, journalism as a profession. AI replacing journalists. Well, I don't see that anytime soon.
Yeah.
But what's the potential for AI there?
So, I think the important thing to understand with artificial intelligence is that it's kind of like the Industrial Revolution, right? When machines came along, everybody was thinking that we wouldn't have any jobs anymore because the machines are taking all the jobs, right? Things that used to require like 200 people now required like 2 machines, and everybody thought there would be no more jobs. But what happened was it just changed the work. So I think you'll see the same thing with AI. AI will have an absolutely profound impact on all industries, HR included. HR, media, medicine, legal, all of these industries will be profoundly impacted by AI. But it doesn't mean that people are going to lose jobs. It means that our jobs will change profoundly. And I think that's a great thing. And yeah, I mean, it's interesting times ahead. But certainly I wouldn't feel threatened by it. It'll be an adaptation that we have to do.
Yeah, but HR, how would it impact? Like maybe a software would be the one to recruit you or something like that?
Yeah. Like all kinds of things that that people do today will be done by HR. For example, as a company, you'll have an AI chatbot doing your first round of interviews for all of your candidates that you're looking to hire. So as an employee, when you go to interview with a company, your first interview will be with an AI. And other applications will be if you're an employee and you have a question about your employer's policies around vacation leave, you're just going to chat with an AI. You're not going to need to bother your HR folks with that. Now the great thing is that frees up our HR, our people professionals, to do more meaningful work than answering questions about leave policies and things like that. So it's absolutely a great thing. It will take some, it changes our jobs, but it makes our jobs more meaningful at the end of the day.
So how should, Sprout take advantage of this, and HR in the general sense? I don't know, brace. I don't know if that's the right term. Brace for impact upon the emergence and the arrival of AI.
Yeah. So I mean, and I talked to founders about this quite a bit. Like, you have to be paying attention to AI and how to layer it in your technology. And we've been thinking about it for a long time and kind of watching it for a long time. Like when chatbots became really big, we were watching it then, but we didn't see a whole lot of utility. And sure enough, a lot of chatbots really were found to be, not as effective as people were hoping. But I think those days are really past, and now we're already layering ChatGPT into our workflows and using it in different parts of the business. We're engaging, like one of the startups in our impact program is Aya, who specializes in AI technology. So yeah, we're really working to foster that kind of next step in the system that's AI driven.
Yeah, but of course, an AI can only do so much. We still need leaders.
Yes.
In the offices. So let's talk about you. What about any learnings during this pandemic? I mean, I've talked to lots of CEOs, lots of profound and realizations. They had their moments of a career look back, things like that. Anything that you've learned during this pandemic?
Interesting. Well, ironically, I was always a believer in work from office. Not out of trust issues, but really just out of that kind of wanting people to collaborate face to face. And I always thought the best collaboration and a lot of like kind of serendipity moments came from like water cooler conversations or, you know, those times where people just get to interact together. So one learning was really that you don't need that, you know. I mean, we really can work from home and be very productive. I think when I look at just looking at the data that we have from our customers, you have to understand the Philippines in general is a low trust environment. That's how this market works.
Low trust meaning?
Low trust, like even it's reflected in HR. So in the Philippines, people are hourly workers. Like you get paid every 2 weeks, but your payroll is calculated based on the time you work. Versus other markets where you just get a salary. Like every 2 weeks you get paid, period. It's totally separated from your working hours. That's like a higher trust environment. So Philippines fundamentally is kind of a low trust environment. But things like the pandemic have really pushed that trust issue. And what we've seen is that our clients who trust their employees working remotely have been the most successful. And that's super exciting to see because, you know, employees are ready to be trusted. And we're really starting to see that trust happening, which is super exciting, and it's great to see, and we're definitely championing that with our customers.
So for Sprout, you go in the office, I don't know, maybe thrice a week? I think that's the trend, right?
That is the trend. 2 to 3 times a week is the trend. And I think that's a good balance because you are very productive working from home, but you know, your company culture is the bedrock of your company. Whether you acknowledge that or not, that's what cements your employees with your company. And that culture is reinforced in a myriad of ways in the office, like employees seeing your logo on the walls and having your receptionist greeting people in the morning, and you know, employees having that office banter that happens, you know, and collaborating around a whiteboard. Like these are your company culture kind of in action, and you miss that when you're totally work from home. So yeah, we're doing for Sprout. We're just going back to 1 day a week now. Actually, we were 100% work from home until this year, until recently. But we'll probably go to 2 days in the office, 3 days at home, and then let's see after that. Yeah.
So anything to look forward to in 2023? Things that get you all excited and or even you know, kind of guarded for this year? Any particular issues that you think we should watch out for this year?
Well, I'll tell you what I'm most excited for with Sprout this year, or one of the things that I'm super excited about that I do want to share is we're putting on a big SaaS conference because, again, we're at this super exciting place in the Philippines where SaaS, software as a service, is really starting to pick up steam, and companies are really investing in these solutions. So we're putting on the biggest SaaS conference in the history of the Philippines in Grand Marriott on March 28th. And we're bringing together enterprise business, SaaS founders, and SaaS investors, venture capitalists. And we're bringing all three of these parties together and really getting this kind of ecosystem kick-started. So that's a very exciting thing for me and for Sprout as kind of a major player in this ecosystem. Like more kind of on the Sprout side, in the Sprout universe, we're closing our Series B round. So we're in final stages of that.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
How much?
Should be raising 8 to 10 million US. We're profitable as a company, which is rare for startups. So what's exciting about that is that all of the proceeds of that fundraise are going to be pumped into, you know, growing out our ecosystem of products, of partner products, and really being used to address problems here in the Philippines. So that's super exciting for us.
So it's mainly for expansion, new products, hiring?
Yep, hiring, a lot of hiring. Yeah, that's right. And really pushing for that growth. Again, all still focused on the Philippines.
Okay. So looking forward to Sprout Solutions, more solutions from
Yeah.
Sprout Solutions. And maybe some key takeaways from this interview is one, trust your employees. They're so ready to be trusted. Don't be afraid of AI. It will change our jobs drastically, but it's gonna be a tool, right?
Yep.
And
That's right.
always be mindful of office policies because the competition is pretty tight,
Yeah.
and lots of opportunities, and it's quite important to retain talent. Again, thanks so much, Patrick. That was Patrick Gentry, CEO of Sprout Solutions. This has been another episode of Business Sense. I'm Ralph Rivas. Thanks for watching.